Hello everybody, Zone Operator here. Today we're going to be talking about some truths and misconceptions about Stalker lore. Now, if you've spent any amount of time in the Stalker community, or maybe all you've played is the overhaul mods like Stalker Anomaly, first of all, shame on you. Pause this video, go play the original trilogy, then come back. As for the rest of you, you may have mistakenly thought that some of the modded stories, or just straight up memes, are part of the canon. So today we're going to be going over 10 common misconceptions and hard truths about Stalker lore. This list is in no particular order of importance. Number 10. The ecologists haven't made much progress. The ecologists have been studying the zone almost since its creation, and you wouldn't be blamed for thinking, all that time they must have come up with some pretty cool discoveries. But you'd be wrong. The zone was came into existence in 2006. It took them 3 years to create the first detector, and then 3 years later, Sakharov gives you a psi helmet he built himself that, contrary to what he says, only partially works. If you talk to the scientists, they all basically tell you that their research has shown them artifacts have unique properties, and unknown factors are causing special mutations in the wildlife. I mean, that's nothing new. I could have told you that. Number 9. The real value of artifacts. So there's a pretty wicked disconnect between gameplay and lore when it comes to artifact value. In the lore, artifacts are rare, dangerous to acquire, but very valuable. Hell, artifact hunting and the ability to get rich turning a few in is what draws many stalkers to the zone. However, in the gameplay, the traders give you dirt for artifacts. The most valuable artifacts, if sold to Professor Sakharov who pays you the most, will only net you 5,000 rubles, roughly 47 euros. That's absolute highway robbery. That's a worse scam than Sidorovich's prices. To be fair, this was more than likely a gameplay balancing decision. It would break the game if you made all the money you ever needed selling 1 or 2 artifacts. Number 8. There is plenty of factional infighting. In the games, there's not much division in the factions. Everyone always seems to cooperate with each other. Bandits help bandits, loners help loners, mercs help mercs, etc, etc, etc. In the lore, this isn't true. The factions have near constant internal disagreements and infighting. The mercenaries don't trust each other and are always worried another's going to steal from them. Lots of dutiers grumble about Verona's decision to play defense against freedom. The bandits are probably the most vicious infighters, with a new boss coming to power after getting rid of the old one, like in the case of Borov and Yoga. Number 7. The military is extremely corrupt. This is probably a more well-known concept in the Stalker lore. Through gameplay alone, you might be forgiven for thinking the military is just a permanently hostile faction who shoot any stalker they encounter, because for the most part that is how they behave in gameplay. However, in the lore, the military, not including special Spetsnaz units, are widely, almost comically corrupt. Most regular soldiers in the zone are lazy, barely follow orders, and can be bribed very easily. In fact, in Shadow Chernobyl, during the encounter the player has with soldiers at the railway bridge, the first thing Major Kuznetsov asks for is a bribe to let you pass. Number 6. The zone isn't a well-known attraction. It's a misconception that the zone is an adventurer's paradise, that people from all over the world flock to the zone, willing to take a gamble to try and strike it rich. This isn't true. The exclusion zone is a small area of Ukraine, and as far as the public is concerned, the military has sealed the border around it. The communications inside the zone, like the PDA network and radio communications, are all internal. Word of the zone is only spread by word of mouth and rumors. Number 5. Freedom isn't a bunch of whacked out degenerates. Okay, so I'm sure everyone has seen the memes clowning on freedom for being a bunch of dope-smoking, mutant-banging, hippie degenerates. I'm about to blow your mind with the truth. I dove deep, looking for some, if any, truth to these rumors. When it comes to freedomers being a bunch of druggies, I found the source of this rumor is one man, Ganja, the freedom trader in Clear Sky. This guy listens to Rasta music and all of his voice lines are about weed.
Keep. Come by next week. We're expecting some real high-class herb that'll get you higher than high. Want some good old medicine? You came to the right place, dude.
He's the only freedomer who talks like this, by the way, and weed isn't mentioned outside this one NPC in this one game. So it's pretty obvious that somehow they took his character and just blew him way out of proportion. When it comes to freedomers having sex with mutants, after diving as deep as I could, I discovered this to be a complete fabrication. From what I can tell, the rumor originated with the Stalker book Southern Comfort, where a stalker talks about a rumor he heard where Yar caught A-Shot having sex with a bloodsucker. This made it into the Call of Chernobyl mod as a subtle Easter egg reference, then it just spiraled out of control until it became a meme in every Stalker mod. Taking into account none of the Stalker books are official or recognized canon, the Freedom mutant sex rumor is totally untrue. In conclusion, freedomers smoking weed comes from the trader Ganja in Clear Sky and has been shockingly overblown, and freedomers having sex with mutants is just 100% false. It's just a meme at this point. Number 4, the monolith are dead or dying. Ah yes, I can already hear the rock worshippers seething in the comments. There is probably a running misconception from playing the games that monolith are basically an endless stream of enemies you have to fight in the late game. It seems that way because the monolith tend to keep respawning in a lot of the battles, such as the fight at the CNPP in Clear Sky, the road through Radar, and the battle inside the Brain Scorcher lab. In a lot of these areas, monolith enemies respawn to keep the action up, but in reality, by the end of Shadow of Chernobyl, the monolith are already on their way out. The Miracle Machine has been disabled, the Brain Scorcher has been disabled, the CNPP has been raided, and the Sea Consciousness has been destroyed. At the end of Shadow of Chernobyl, the ability for the monolith to reinforce has been removed, and by the end of Call of Pripyat, the monolith is depleted and teetering on the verge of collapse altogether. Number 3. None of the factions are allies. Stalker Lore makes it pretty clear that all the factions are willing to attack each other for territory, loot, or revenge. I think Stalker Anomaly is the biggest offender for convincing players that there are particular alliances between factions. For example, in Anomaly, Freedom is on good relations with mercenaries and bandits. Meanwhile, the mercenaries were attacking them constantly when they were based in the Dark Valley, and it was the bandits that attacked them and ran them out of their old base. None of the factions are allies. They are either outright hostile or they only tolerate some actions from some stalkers of another faction. Number 2. There aren't many stalkers in the zone. So you're wandering around the zone and you happen upon a bandit camp. Then a military patrol passes by, then some loners are shooting at boars, then freedom and duty squads are shooting it out. Then the barrier gets attacked by the monolith, some ecologists are researching an anomaly field, and you think to yourself, geez, I can't go 20 seconds without running into more stalkers. Now, this was done for gameplay and world building purposes. Stalker has a dynamic NPC system that I won't pretend to understand the technicalities of how it works, but the oversimplified version is, no matter where you are in the zone, mutants and fellow Stalker NPCs are moving around and interacting with each other in real time. This makes it look like no matter where you go, there's always something happening in the zone. In the lore, however, there's only a few hundred Stalkers in the zone total. Obviously that number is fluid, rising and falling depending on the time period. It's also the reason a lot of the combat in Stalker is squad-sized. There are simply not enough bodies to warrant large group v group battles. Everything is mostly 3 to 6 man squads versus another 3 to 6 man squad. Number 1. The zone is borderline inhospitable. Yeah, it turns out the zone is not a safe place. Playing the games, it might seem easy to sidestep anomalies, circle strafe mutants, and pick off enemy stalkers from a distance. But in actuality, the zone is incredibly dangerous, bordering on inhospitable for humans. Almost all the lore from the PD entries, to conversation with NPCs, to chatter voice lines, all point to the fact that the zone is a shockingly dangerous place, where one mistake, one wrong step, or letting your guard down for a moment can have you end up as a flesh pancake or having your skin melted off. And that's just from environmental anomalies. Take into account blowouts and side missions, the mutant animals, the mutant humanoids, the hostile stalkers. The zone is a place where even well-prepared, highly trained stalkers can easily meet their doom. Well, that's it. That's the end of my list of hard truths and debunked misconceptions about Stalker lore. Were there any interesting factoids you think I left out? Did you learn anything new? Let me know in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and thanks to everybody who supports the channel. Keep tuned for more Stalker videos coming in the future. This is the Zone Operator, signing off.